Silent Hill Downpour first came out on March 13th, 7 years ago. I bought it the day it released. A week before that, I wrote a piece on what I wanted the game to be, what I hoped it would be. And I wasn't disappointed. Silent Hill Downpour was the first Silent Hill game to really affect me emotionally in years. The other games had been good. I remember Shattered Memories and how it ended. I remember Homecoming and the reveal at the end there. They meant something, but they didn't really hurt. Not like Downpour did. I sat down to replay this game this weekend and try and write up a script of how I felt about it and what I wanted to say for the anniversary. And I found myself stumped. I just felt too much about this game, and too many things I wanted to say to get it all down on paper. So for the first time, I decided I would just talk about it. When Downpour first released, a lot of people had issues playing the game. I didn't. For some reason, I had no glitches at all, and I beat the game very quickly, and I remember being so stunned. For the first time in a long time, it really felt like I had returned to Silent Hill. The previous games had all been good in their own way, but Downpour felt like coming home. The story does things that the series hadn't done in years or ever. A lot of people dismiss it as having the same kind of story, a story of a man's guilt. But in this game, the crime isn't hidden. From the beginning, the player's introduction to the story is being forced to kill a defenseless man and not knowing why. It's a haunting, disturbing scene, and it implicates the player in Murphy's guilt. In none of the other games do we actually face the crime the character committed, or committed ourselves. In Downpour, we are as guilty as Murphy is. The game has so many details hidden away in corners. If you pay attention, there's so much to find. Little hints and nods at characters' fates. The game deals with a subject that even Silent Hill has tiptoed around. This is the game of a father coming to terms with the rape and murder of his son. But it's never quite said that that's what happened. You have to read notes, find clues, put the pieces together yourself to realize the horrific truth. Murphy lost his son in the most horrendous possible way, and somehow he has to come to terms with it. One of the reasons Silent Hill 2 stands above the rest is because it deals at its heart with something we've all faced or will face, the loss of a loved one. Downpour, in a similar way, deals with something real, something that could happen to any of us. The story deals with the fact that Murphy has committed a crime, and yet it doesn't seem to condemn him for it. This game doesn't reinforce Murphy's guilt. It holds a mirror up to it and asks him if he likes what he sees. As Slater says, we're the ones who have to decide if we can live with what we've done. Killing Napier isn't his crime. It's the fact that killing him leads down this treacherous road that ends in more deaths. In this game, the bad guys win. No matter what happens to Murphy, Sewell is still in a position of power. Coleridge is still dead. The game deals with enemies we see in memories and cutscenes, but not people we face. They're shadows of a previous time, because these are events we can't change. Events Murphy has to come to terms with. Other characters don't face it. DJ Ricks hides in his booth and tries to pretend everything is okay. Slater refuses to admit that he was in the wrong and allowed children to die. Being unable to accept the truth, ignoring the truth, is what is a crime in this game. Accepting what you've done, acknowledging it, is the only way to move forward and beyond it. Murphy and Anne both have to learn that lesson. Part of my enjoyment of the Silent Hill series came from the town itself, from exploring it and finding secrets in all the nooks and crannies, finding horrific things in the everyday. Downpour does this better than any of the other games. Between its side quests, its sprawling map, and all the Easter eggs and hidden things tucked away there, there's so much to find and see. There's a reason to explore the entire map and the town and see what you find. The town of Silent Hill has always been the most compelling character in the series, and Downpour gives you a real reason to explore it further, to examine it closer, to wonder at the horrors that have happened here. One of the greatest strengths of the game is its main character, Murphy, the tragic father of a dead son. Murphy reacts to things with shock and horror. He cusses when monsters appear on screen. He screams himself hoarse in the other world. He reacts like any of us would. He says things that any of us would say. And his sorrow, his pain, is a nightmare I can't begin to imagine. Other characters in the game aren't as strong. Many of the side characters are thin stereotypes and tropes. But Murphy and the character of Anne both stand as very strong examples of the kind of compelling storytelling that a Silent Hill game can do. The concept of the town invites 1,000 different stories to be told, and this, like Silent Hill 2, is an example of how it can be done without using the cult. It's morally gray. It's fascinating. It invites questions and discussion. Yes, the game did have its glitches when it released, but many of these have been fixed, and now the newer digital release has fixed it even more. And yes, the monsters are not as strong as they used to be. Most of them appear to be humanoid. But then, in Downpour, the monsters are the humans. People like Sewell and Napier, and even Murphy. The symbolism in this game is so strong. From the moment Murphy turns the valves that open the showers, he's haunted by water and by valves. Nearly every level and puzzle of this game involves turning something. Water is everywhere, as are the corpses of prisoners. This game hurt me when I finished it. And the twist ending, that you are the final boss, that you have become the monster, it hit me to the core. This game is ultimately about how our perception of the world around us can change people into monsters, how we can become monsters by perceiving the world the way we want to. Silent Hill Downpour might be my favorite Silent Hill. Every once in a while I discuss with myself whether it's 4 or Downpour, but it's definitely one of my favorite games of all time. The story is so strong. It's so painful. I can't imagine having to be a father living without their son, but the game manages to convey how to move on after the worst kind of loss and the worst kind of pain. There are so many small details, so many little hints at secrets and horrors. Every time I come back to the town in Downpour, I'm never disappointed.